Very important, resizing images in Photoshop. And there are two concepts I want to talk about, and that's just resetting the width and height and actually scaling an image in Photoshop. So here we go. Let's move him out of the way. We have some images open already. I'll drag Adobe Bridge out of the way. And let's just close this guy and not save it. And we'll bring in Freda's picture from our previous episode. And notice it's just hanging out here. I can just drag this up here and dock it. And something very important that I don't give it its own title, but notice the hand tool. The toolbar is very important. But if I double click the hand tool, it always fills my screen with the image right here. So now here we go. Oh, now the magnification tool, if I double click the magnification tool, then it takes the image to its full size, which has its purposes. But for now, and notice, now we can't see the whole image. We're zoomed in, but if I double click the hand tool, it fills the screen with the image. So I want to resize the image, and if I'm doing web work, maybe I want the image to be 700 by 300 or 400 by 500, whatever. So if I just go File, Image Size, go to the Image drop-down menu and go to Image Size. Why, I can do that right here. If I want to make it 700 by whatever, I can go 700. But before I do anything, look at these numbers. Look at these numbers. I'm going to do 7. And notice the height is changing also. And I'm getting it real close. I want it to be 700 by, let's say, 400. Well, what's going on is you got this little lock thingy right here. So as you change the width, it's changing the height to maintain the aspect ratio of the image, which many times is exactly what you want to do. But if I get this close, maybe I want it to be 400, and 394 is only 6 pixels away from 400. So if you unlock this sucker, then I can change it to 400 and it doesn't do anything. The aspect ratio is turned off. Whatever, I think you get the point. So I can resize an image like that. If I click OK, here's my new image at 700 by 400. I can work on it. And if I double click the hand tool, it takes that image, even though it's 700 by 400, fills my screen. Now here's a convenient thing. If I double click the magnification tool, that shows me they call it print size view. If I were to print this out, this is the size it would be. This is visually how it would go on a web page. Okay, so now the other way to scale an image is to actually just resize it. And it's kind of weird. We're going to look at the layers panel for the first time. And we're going to go over this. You'll be seeing the layers panel a lot, and it's one of the most important panels in Photoshop. One of the kisses of death of Photoshop is for almost any image you bring in to Photoshop from a camera, from a scanner, whatever, it names this layer right here in the layers panel background, which is like the kiss of death. By default, a background layer is locked, which means you can't do anything to it. That defeats the whole purpose of Photoshop. So if I come over here and click the little lock, oops, name changes to layer 0, and I can change the name of this layer by double-clicking the new name, and I'm just going to call it trees. You can call it Sammy if you want. You can call it anything you want. Now that this layer is unlocked, To scale this image down, this is really cool. All I do is I go to a magical little place called the Edit drop-down menu, and one of my favorite things to do is free transform. I love free transform. I click it, and then you get the magical little bounding box going all the way around the image. And with the bounding box, I can go to one size, move that in like that. I can undo that, edit, undo. If I want to make this image smaller and maintain aspect ratio, I can go to the corner. Notice if I go down here, I get up, down. Go over here, I get left, right. But if I come here, I get a diagonal. And then if I hold the Shift key down and drag inwards, it maintains aspect ratio, and I can drag the image around. This is a transparent background, so these little white checkers and gray are just symbolic for transparent. Notice if I come over here to the corner, I get like a weird little arrow. And if you see that, then you can actually rotate the image. Woo, woo. But let's I'm going to undo that. Well, let's not undo it. I want to talk about this little thing that's hard to see right in the middle. This is the center of the object. The center of rotation, I can move it around. And notice if I move the center of rotation up here into the corner, then when I rotate, it rotates around its new center. Woo! So that's a good thing or a bad thing. If you move it by accident, it'll drive you nuts. So I'm going to stick it back in the middle. Come down here. Notice free transform. Not only can I scale an image, make it larger or smaller. Of course, making an image larger is the work of the devil. But watch this. This is cool. Woo! I can flip it like that. Hey, that is so cool. I can do it up and down too. Hey, woo! Photoshop is awesome. Okay, now, also I can drag this thing around. Now, the bad thing about the free transform tool is you can't do anything in Photoshop until you hit enter when you're done. So once you're done, you just hit enter. And now you're a free person and you can use all the Photoshop tools. But it's very important that until you hit enter or return on the keyboard, you're a slave and you can't get out of that free transform box. So there you go. Resizing an image, you can do it either by going to the image drop-down menu, image size, or you can go edit, free transform. Now, I got to say this. There's also transform. And notice if you go to transform, there's all kinds of things you can do. But here I'm just going to discuss flip horizontal or flip vertical. And that's just a quickie job. I can click this. Bam, it goes the other way. I can go back, transform, flip vertical. Boof, there you go. So there's flip vertical, flip horizontal, edit, free transform. It's just a ball of fun. There you go.